Hey, Bears fans, it's the day after. We're trying to process the loss last night still. So before we get into Overreaction Monday, answer this question for me. Who do you blame for last night's loss? Do you blame the coaching? Maybe you just blame the Rams for being a better team. Do you blame Andy Dalton? Let me know. Who do you blame for the Bears' loss to the Rams in Week 1? Let's get a lot of comments flowing in the comments, and then let's jump into Bears Overreaction Monday. I'm your host, Harrison Graham, as always, and Bears Overreaction Monday is presented by Magic Spoon. Guys, I can't tell you how much I appreciate this cereal because I love cereal. All my friends know it. I always ate it throughout college, but I put on a lot of weight eating it, so had to cut that stuff out of my life. But Magic Spoon cereal got me back in because it's actually healthy for you. Don't believe me? They are 100% guaranteed that you will enjoy their cereal. Otherwise, you get your money back. Get $5 off your first order at magicspoon.com/Bears. Trust me, you don't want to miss out on this opportunity. Okay, let's get into Bears Overreaction Monday. This is some of the rumors, hot topics circulating on the internet coming out of this one. Matt Nagy, his play calling sucks. Well, let's look at the statistics for the Bears, then we'll kind of have a deeper discussion on this. So, total yards, 322. Pretty decent against a good Rams defense. Pass yards, 188. That includes sack yardage, which takes away from team passing. So over 200 without the sacks. 134 rush yards. David Montgomery was tremendous. He continues to be super underrated. Yards per play, not great. 4.7. It was hovering almost at 6 for most of the game, but the last couple of drives didn't go very far. And then third and fourth down, 5 for 15. Got to be better there, especially that 0 for 4 on fourth down. You guys aren't going to like me for this, but Matt Nagy was fine last night. I'm not going to sit here and say he called the greatest game of all time, but the Rams played too deep for most of the game, and they weren't going to give up big plays. So, it was a dink and dunk passing attack with Andy Dalton, get the ball out quickly, which, quite frankly, plays to his strengths. Accuracy underneath, get the ball out, protect yourself from, a questionable offensive line, and move the chains that way. Now, we'll talk more about Dalton in a minute, and you need to create bigger plays, and Nagy needs to improve there, but I actually thought the Bears did a decent job of taking what the Rams gave them. Obviously, you got to execute, finish in the red zone, and do those type of things. So grade Matt Nagy's play calling in last night's game. Again, I'm not going to give him an A or anything like that, but you guys act like he was terrible. This was a C+, B- type of game plan for Nagy. Now, you got to work in deeper shots, but hey, I thought overall the Bears, showed some glimmer of life offensively, especially compared to last year. I mean, I think this offense definitely has more potential if they can find some big plays. So A, B, C, D, or F, grade Matt Nagy's play calling in last night's game. The Bears' defense is bad. That's a lot of the talking point coming out of this one. And based on this one game, yeah, it wasn't good. There's no doubt about it. Now, I still have some hope for this season defensively, but I'll be honest, I think I'm more concerned about the defense than the offense. Gave up almost 400 yards. Matt Stafford put on a clinic with 312 passing. The Rams didn't rush for much, although in the second half, Darrell Henderson was getting 4, 5, 6 yards a carry. That was a little unsettling. And then the yards per play, the big difference, right? Bears 4.7, Rams 7.7. Rams were able to find big play after big play. I think 4 plays of over 30 yards. And then 7 of 12 on third and fourth down. The Rams did 2 things the Bears didn't do. Big plays and converted on the key downs. That's not what the Bears did. And for the Bears defense, this secondary, it ain't it. I got to tell you, this secondary ain't it right now. Oh, we're going to talk about Eddie Jackson later, but by goodness, he has got to play better. We told you throughout training camp this team does not have a number 2 corner. I still think that is the case. Marquis Christian at nickel, he got most of the looks there. Duke Shelley was inactive. Not impressed with what Christian brought to the table. Gibson made a nice play or 2 in open field, but coverage-wise didn't do much. Jalen Johnson was fine. He's a good corner, but the rest of the secondary is just not very good, guys, and that's going to have to change in a major, major way very, very soon. So, yeah, the defense, the secondary, I don't know, man. We got to see a lot more moving forward. While the Bears' defense and secondary is a question mark right now, Magic Spoon is not. It's 100% guaranteed customer service. They're going to guarantee that you like the cereal, and if you don't, they'll give you your money back. Get $5 off at magicspoon.com/bears. It's high in protein, guys, 13 to 14 grams per serving. It's absolutely fantastic, and it's if you like working out in the morning like I do, take a bowl of this stuff, boom, you're ready to go. Low in carbs, only 4 grams of net carbs, and 0 grams of sugar. That's the best part about Magic Spoon. It is healthy, but it's also sweet and delicious. It's like the cereal you guys have been eating since you guys were a kid. That's why their tagline is childlike cereal for grown-ups, because it tastes like the cereal you ate as a kid, but it's not fatty and sugary like the cereal you ate as a kid. It's got better nutrition and flavors and products. MagicSpoon.com/bears. Get $5 off your first order. Trust me, you're not going to regret it. Link is down in the comments and in the description. All right, next up, let's talk quarterbacks. Bench Andy Dalton. I'm fine if you do. I will say I don't think the takeaway from last night's game is that the Bears lost because of Andy Dalton. He was fine. He certainly wasn't great. 27 completions for 206 yards. What does that tell you? That the Bears either didn't take chances downfield or weren't allowed the opportunity. Maybe a combination of both. I thought the Rams, the way they schemed up Chicago, they wanted to make the Bears be methodical, which Chicago drove it almost every time, only punted once, just stalled out in fringe field goal range a few times. It couldn't convert on 4th down. The Bears need chunk plays. We know that. They tried to set up a pump and go, and Dalton got sacked, which – hey, I think that's pretty good evidence that the Bears wanted to get the ball out quickly, right? Because they didn't know how the offensive line would hold up, which overall it actually did fine, especially in the run game. Not as much in the pass, but I think the O-line was fine in this one, although we'll talk about left tackle in a minute with the injuries. But you got to create big plays. Now, in theory, Justin Fields can create those for you, right? And we did see Justin Fields a little bit, threw the ball twice, completed a 9-yard out route and then a little shovel pass to Allen Robinson for 10 yards overall between the two completions. Ran it once for a touchdown, 3-yard scamper in the red zone, which was exciting to see. The clock is ticking for Andy Dalton. We all know that. Whether it's his fault or not, which I don't think last night was, eventually you're going to have to go to Fields, because if this defense plays like this, you can't win with Andy Dalton. You can win with Andy Dalton if the defense is really good and you can run the football really well. I think this team's going to be able to run the football. I'm not convinced this is going to be an elite defense. Can it be good-ish? Yeah, it's not going to be a bottom 5 defense. You don't go from top 10 to bottom 5 like that, but I think there's pretty decent evidence to say this defense won't be as good as it has been the last couple of years, which means you're going to have to go to Justin Fields and hope that he can give you bigger plays on offense than Andy Dalton can. So who should be the Week 2 starter? Type AD for Andy Dalton, type JF for Justin Fields. I'm pretty confident in saying Dalton will start. Should he? That's a fair question. Get your votes in, AD or JF. Now, obviously, we're frustrated after the opening week loss, but help a brother out. We're almost at 32,000 subscribers. You guys who have been subscribed for a while, y'all are the real ones. Spread the word. Let's keep this train moving. Let's get to 32K. I'm still trying to catch up to the 49ers report, and they're at like 38,000 right now. Trying to beat Chase Sr. and the Niners to 50K. Don't tell them. It's a secret. Trying to beat them, though. We can only get there with your guys' help at youtube.com/BearsNow. So hit that subscribe button. Free videos every single day here on the channel, and share that link below with a friend at youtube.com/BearsNow. Oh, man, next up, trade Eddie Jackson. Oh, boy. Eddie Jackson was a disaster last night. That attempt to tackle Cooper Kupp late in the game, my God, that was embarrassing. He has got to play better. Eddie Jackson has to improve. He got lost in coverage a couple of times. Now, Matt Nagy said he had to look at the film to see who was to blame on those busted coverages. Maybe it wasn't on Jackson, we'll see, but all I know is there was multiple Rams receivers streaking, and Jackson was the nearest guy to him a couple of times. I don't know, what the schemes were, what the calls were on those plays, but Jackson's got to play better, and he's got to tackle better, man. Is there a worse tackling safety in the league than Eddie Jackson? I mean, he said he prided himself on that this offseason and how hard he worked. It didn't show last night. That was an embarrassment from him. Burn that tape, Eddie, because you don't want to see that. That was a absolutely tough scene. So, we'll see moving forward what he brings to the table. He has not been the same guy since he got paid. I don't know if that's a coincidence. I don't know if he's, mailed it in a little bit. I don't want to suggest that because he's been a good player in the past, but man, they paid him to be an elite safety, and he is just not that player right now, and there's no way around it. Should the Bears trade Eddie Jackson? Simple question. Y for yes, N for no. What do you guys think on this one? Should they try to trade him? I've seen you guys on Twitter, trade Eddie Jackson. You guys are DMing me about it. What are you going to get for him at this point? I don't know. I wouldn't trade him at this point because his value isn't very high, but cast your votes. Y for yes, N for no. Last overreaction, should the Bears sign a left tackle because they lost Larry Borom and Jason Peters last night? I mean, if Borom and or Peters can't go, you're going to have to do something, right? Borom left with an ankle injury, and Peters left with a quad injury. If they're both out, you have to sign a tackle. If one is available, you can probably get by for another game, but Elijah Wilkinson is not the answer at left tackle. He held up okay in the 15 or so snaps he played late in the game, but that is not a solution. He can't be your left tackle. He just can't be. So if these two guys are out, you're going to have to try and figure something out. Now, it's going to be hard to do on short notice. You may just have to play Wilkinson for this game, but I would sign someone and get someone in here if Peters and or Borom can't go in this one. Obviously, Tevin Jenkins ain't coming back anytime soon as he's on IR. I mean, do you try Alex Bars at left tackle? Do you put Fetty at left tackle and play a Wilkinson at right tackle? Not a good situation. So hopefully Peters can return. His thing didn't seem too serious, but it just wasn't great. I mean, to lose two left tackles in game one, not a good situation. So those are my 5 overreactions, a lot of the hot topics circulating the internet following the Bears Week 1 loss. If you enjoyed this video, let us know in the comments. And also, who you got in Week 2? Type CHI for the Bears, CIN for the Bengals. Cincinnati looked good. They beat Minnesota in Week 1. Let us know, and we will see you next time here on Chicago Bears Now.